We're here tonight, obviously, to pay our respects to a righteous woman who led the way for all of us. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's dedication to her vision of an America where we were all truly equal, where our policies and our laws do equity, left us in a profoundly better place than she found us. It is not an overstatement to say that as Thurgood Marshall was the leading legal mind of the civil rights movement, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was the leading legal mind of the women's rights movement. At the ACLU, in Virginia and nationally, we are grieving Justice Ginsburg's passing as the death of a member of our family. She was the first director of the ACLU Women's Rights Project, a project founded only because of her unrelenting advocacy. And if you watch the documentary RBG, you'll see how hard she had to fight to get the ACLU to think that women's rights should be in the ACLU portfolio. She assumed that position in 1972, and by 1974, the ACLU nationally, with our affiliates, had brought 300 cases challenging gender and sex discrimination across the country. Her strategy was an inclusive one, including helping the mostly male judges that she went before understand that men and women and non-binary people and transgender people all are adversely affected by sex discrimination, by the limiting stereotypes that undergird the traditional views of sex and gender. For me personally, I know that I have experienced opportunities that I would not have had but for Justice Ginsburg's advocacy, and that opportunities that I was denied because I'm a woman, like being able to go to UVA or any Ivy League school as an undergraduate, or being unable to get credit when I graduated from law school in my own name, those are now open to women because of Justice Ginsburg's legal leadership. For all of us, though, Justice Ginsburg's death has us asking with trepidation, what does the future hold? Who will light the way forward? For those who are tempted to see Justice Ginsburg's death as the extinguishing of a light, I ask you to see it as the passing of the beacon. Reach out and hold your lights high so others can follow you. For those who are tempted to see Justice Ginsburg's death as the end of a race, I ask you to see it as the completion of the leadoff leg in an important relay. Reach out and accept the passing of the baton so that you can carry it forward and pass it to the next runner. For all of us tempted to give in to hopelessness, I encourage you to remember Bryan Stevenson's advice that hopelessness is the enemy of justice. We must remain optimistic to do this work. We must be resilient. I recently read an article in the New York Times by Eileen Zimmerman about resilience, and she asked why some people are more resilient than others. She said the most resilient among us are people who generally don't dwell on the negative, who look for opportunities that might exist even in the darkest of times. Dedication to a worthy cause or a belief in something greater than oneself also enhances resilience. And Zimmerman advises focusing our energy on what can be changed and looking for meaningful opportunities in any difficult situation. She finally points out that resilient people don't go it alone, and I am so glad I am not alone here tonight. So I ask you to leave tonight drawing resilience from our shared commitment to worthy causes, promising to look for opportunities even in this very dark time, and finding support from each other and our allies in the fight for reproductive justice and gender and racial equity. Let's leave here committed to pursuing our cause at the polls in November and in Congress. Let's leave here committed to working harder in the Virginia legislature to make Virginia laws more equitable and to ensuring that whatever happens in Washington, our Commonwealth will continue to move away from its racially unjust past. Our Commonwealth will continue to work to assure racial justice at the ballot box and in our criminal legal system. Our Commonwealth will not go back on our first in the South protection from discrimination of LGBTQ people here. And our Commonwealth will not reinstitute burdensome laws limiting women's access to abortion and basic reproductive health care. May Justice Ginsburg memory be for a blessing, and may it be for a revolution that every one of you participates in. Thank you.